God,
The Chiefs have selected George Karlaftis. Big George! There we go!
I am so beyond excited that Josh Simmons getting a crack at left tackle.
It's really hard to win the AFC Championship.
Is it? Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank. Member FDIC, our incredible partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. Not a matter day tonight. Matt Hamilton is out in he's in Santa Clara for that Super Bowl thing going on. Not used to like it's been a long time, Maddie Lane, since we haven't been doing a show previewing or getting you ready for a Chiefs Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, but boy, it does seem like this Super Bowl is kind of ho-hum this year, right? What a boring game that no one's talking about, let me tell you.
Yeah, it really is.
Lane.
It does feel like a very understated Super Bowl relative to others from what I can see. It doesn't feel like
I assume that's just us being Chiefs fans who are used to being in the game. Like our favorite team playing in the game and trying to cover it and paying attention to everything. I'm sure it's like the exact same as always. It just feels differently for us. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a little bit more low key. I do think the way that the Patriots are entering this game, not necessarily on a super high because it's been disgusting football they've been playing in the playoffs, and the Seattle Seahawks coming off a great game, like a super fun game that everybody loved. But it's still like, I don't know if the Seahawks have caught on with the general population yet as like, oh, we really want this team. So like, it does feel like maybe there is a little bit less hype. Whereas last year, you had the entire world either wanted to see the Chiefs lose or they wanted to see Philly lose. Like, I don't know if anybody really wanted anyone to win, but everybody wanted someone to lose really bad. So it felt like there was a lot of hype going into it. This year, I don't know if it's the same, but again, that could just be me being salty that the Chiefs aren't in it.
Arrow Ed is asking why there's no 7 minutes with Craig Stout. Arrow Ed 1587, why don't you tune in on Wednesday? Because that's when Craig Stout will be with us and he will be bestowing 7 minutes with Craig. Also, T. Smith saying Craig Stout can fix the Chiefs. He's great. Also true. And also Chase's Poo. Chase Spoo. It says, Jeremiah Love, you are a Chief. Sign me up. There's not very many scenarios where that wouldn't be appealing to me. I'll just go on the record as saying that right now. Sorry, I just saw some interesting comments. Thought I'd throw a few of them up there. But
honestly, I'd be surprised. I'm shocked right now. You never throw comments up. Like that has happened very few times in the history of this show. Is Kent putting a comment up on the screen? So like I am floored right now.
So this is like it's very I get on a very one track minded, right? And so like not to get too inside baseball-y, but if like there's a chat like function that we have on our podcasting platform. And so you can jump between like the private chats and then the comments. The problem is the second Tucker puts something in the private chats, I stay there the rest of the show. Like if there's something in there, I'm probably not coming back. I'm probably not coming back to the comments. I'm staying in the private chat, and that's just kind of how it happens. And sometimes I forget to jump back. I saw a few things. I figured I'd throw them up there. At least, there's some interesting things in there. So like,
I think it was a great job by you. I just said I'm floored by it. It just doesn't happen often.
I know. Yeah, I gotta. It's kind of like the Discord. I need to be better on the Discord too. It's just it's habitual things. I just gotta get better. I just gotta get better at some things, guys. That's on me. That is on me. I apologize.
I appreciate you taking accountability.
I will say, hey, I take accountability here. That you're never gonna have that problem with me. I was gonna say, the funny thing with the Super Bowl is, oh man, we're so sick of the Chiefs. Well, world, I'll tell you what, we mixed some things up. We got Seahawks Patriots. You've never seen that matchup before. You haven't seen those two teams in the last decade. Like, congratulations. You really wanted some things mixed up. You got Patriots and another NFC West team. Congratulations. Get off our backs now, right? Is that how that works?
I guess. Yeah, I mean, sure. Yes, we've seen this matchup before. It's just like there's been 1 year and like 12 seasons now or 11 seasons or something where it hasn't been the Patriots or the Chiefs representing the AFC and the Super Bowl. So, we're it's still chugging along. We've seen this before. We've seen the song and dance, and we'll see how it plays out. I hope it's a good game. I don't mean to take anything away from either team that's made it. It's just from my perspective as somebody who likes football, is generally pretty locked in. This seems like a pretty ho-hum Super Bowl. But again, I'm sure it's probably just me being a little sad and disappointed the Chiefs aren't in there. And so I'm not maybe consuming the right media to get me hyped up for the Super Bowl as we're, less than a week out now.
I think there were other interesting matchups that I would have liked to see. The Jags period would have been awesome. I would have liked to see the Texans make it too. I wanted an AFC South team. I think that would have been more interesting to me. And then on the NFC side, I don't know, because I want it to be a weird year so we can just chalk everything up to a weird year. And it's like, the Jags and Kyle Shanahan dragging that team back into the Super Bowl or something like that. That would have been fun for me, just because like that Niners team was punching above their weight class all season. Bears-Jags is probably the best one. Bears-Jags would have been the most fun Super Bowl for me, because you could just chalk everything up. To like, this is just a weird season. It still is. Drake May, like the Patriots, talk about punching above their weight class. I'm impressed that they've gotten to this point. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday with Craig, I'm sure. We're not going to talk about the Super Bowl because I think we're all focused on the 2027 Super Bowl now here at KC Sports Network, getting you ready for everything off season as the Chiefs look to retool and try to get back on the right side of the playoff bubble. So we're gonna look at. We thought we'd look at like, hey, like today, let's kind of start setting the stage a little bit. Start setting the stage just a little bit, looking at a high level look at the free agents that the Kansas City Chiefs have coming in here this offseason, who they potentially could lose, who is out and open and available for them to move on. And so I produced a list here, Matthew.
List. Okay.
I produced a list, and I didn't go through every single one of the Chiefs free agents because like some of them I don't think are worth talking about. No offense to Mike Edwards.
Yikes, poor guy.
But I figured, like, hey, let's just like at least set the stage for what this team is losing in at some of these key positions, and then I got a fun little game for us to play after that.
Oh boy, okay.
Looking at like of all the Chiefs free agents, who do you think is the most impactful loss that the Chiefs are experiencing in free agency right now?
Okay. Are the Chiefs trading Trent McDuffie or not?
Don't do this. Just on its face.
No, it changes my answer.
All right, what's the question? What is it about Trent McDuffie? Are they trading him?
Yeah. Is he on the team or not?
Sidebar, do you think he's on the team?
Yes.
I think he's on the team too. I think they're going to run it back. I think they'll run it back with him at least this year. So I think Trent McDuffie's on the roster. So yes, Trent McDuffie's on the roster.
So then it's Brian Cook. Then I think Brian Cook is the most important player that they are losing. Brian Cook, I think, played a lot better than some Chiefs fans really want to think, right? I think he's gotten, I don't know, there's this bad rap because he's a safety. So he's not great in man coverage. So people have in the back of their mind a couple reps where he does get leveraged into man coverage against a wide receiver or leveraged into man coverage against a good tight end and he gets beat. I know there's the last play of the year where the Broncos end up hitting a back shoulder throw to a running back randomly late in the down. There's some moments that I think stick out in people's heads. But Brian Cook, if you look at this like the entire season, he was the most reliable safety they had. He's the best one in coverage. He's the best and surest tackler of the group. Like he kind of wore a lot of hats. And then you listen to anything when the coaching staffs talk, and I don't mean like praising him, but he's the guy that communicated in the secondary. He's the guy that tells the corners what they're doing. He's the guy that's letting the linebackers know the coverage adjustments. Like he is the middleman for everybody in the back end going up into the middle of the defense or the front seven. So I do think losing him is probably the biggest deal they are going to have to deal with, is assuming that McDuffie's around. And then that makes Jalen Watson slightly more, I guess you can lose Jalen Watson as long as you still have Christian Fulton, Noel Williams, and Trent McDuffie still on the roster.
Matt Bowen does incredible work at ESPN. Film guy, former NFL player, has Brian Cook as the 25th best free agent in the 2026 free agency class. I think the hype is relative to the reality is probably a little bit off. Brian Cook had a good year, and Brian Cook
has him as the number one overall safety available this in free agency.
I mean, I wouldn't be stunned if Brian Cook gets the most money in free agency at the safety position. I would be a little surprised if the Chiefs wind up bringing him back, if I'm being honest with you, because I do think he is going to warrant a big chunk of change. Okay, so that, of course, leaves Jalen Watson, I think, as the number 2, even with Trent McDuffie here on the roster. Jalen Watson at the cornerback spot had a tremendous season. And tremendous rookie contract for the Chiefs. Part of the reason that the Chiefs were able to have the success they have is because they had successful players in that 22 class in day 3, like Jalen Watson. Yeah, Maddie, I think Cook, Watson are the 2 top free agents for this team.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't even know if there's like a strong competition for those top 2 spots. We can do the Leo Chenal thing. Like I would love Leo Chenal to come back for the Chiefs, but the reality is he's been a part-time player for 4 seasons. And given the system that the Chiefs run, that part-time player, while important for specific things that they do, they have a hard time weaponizing him because they don't play these like different changing fronts often enough to get him on the field more, where you can blitz him or drop him into coverage or do these different things with him. They don't stunt. They don't run a lot of twists in games. So that does limit how you can use him as a pass rusher, because that's probably where he's going to be better than as a pure one-on-one rusher. So he's just not a great fit for what the Chiefs do, despite the fact that he's an excellent Sam linebacker when he's out there for them. And I just think some team is going to be willing to pay him more money and use him differently than the Chiefs do, because it'll fit their system a little better.
Does that mean you're calling him the 3rd best free agent in this class for the Chiefs? Is that what you're doing?
Am I missing somebody?
Well, I'll get there in a second. With Leo, I think we'll be surprised how much Leo makes, honestly. I do think some teams will Bills fans want him so bad. They
makes
really
a lot of sense for them.
It makes a ton of sense for them. And Leo Chenal, like he checks a lot of boxes because he was a young draft pick when he got taken. He was barely 21 years old when the Chiefs drafted him. And so you're looking at a really young 25-year-old who's going to be, in his 20s, in his prime. He might walk out of free agency again at 28 years old. Just because of how young he is. So yeah, I think Leo Chenal is definitely up there. Again, Matt Boehm had him as the 45th best free agent in the 2026 class. Watson, by the way, was 16 on that list. Those are the 3 players that they had. I was at least gonna just ask you. You wouldn't put. Where would you put Travis Kelce there? Where would you put Travis Kelce there? See, I think Cook and Watson are probably a clear 1 too. But Trav, I think Trav might be that 3rd guy there, even on a 1-year deal. Uh-oh.
Yeah, probably. No, I mean, probably. How do I say this? How do I say this correctly? There's only a few teams where I think Travis Kelce's impact at this point of his career is going to be that high, and the Kansas City Chiefs just happen to be one of them. But there's only so many teams that I think are going to run an offense that's conducive to where he's at in his career right now, where you can't run everything through him, but he's still able to do his little ad-lib stuff that makes sense, and you're not relying on him to be a great blocker. Like, I think that's a little bit of a limited fit for a guy of his caliber at this point of his career. So I think it's a little tighter than what it sounds like when you just say the names. But yeah, you're probably right. He definitely goes ahead of Leo Chenal for the Chiefs. I guess it's never crossed my mind that Travis Kelce doesn't retire and then goes to another team. So
Right.
I didn't even include him for this exercise mentally for that exact reason.
Yeah, I guess we can just round out the rest of the defensive side of the ball. On the defensive line, Charles Omenihu, Derek Nottie, Mike Pennell, those are three names along the defensive line that you could, potentially come back, potentially move on from. Those are the free agents, the remaining free agents on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, it's really like the primary spots. It's Gardner Minshew at quarterback. It's the entire running back room except for Brashard Smith. It's Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. That's really the core of the list there. On the offensive side of the ball, if it's Gardner Minshew, Isaiah Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kareem Hunt, who would you most want back of that group relative to their cost or perceived cost?
Of everybody you just listed?
Yeah.
Mike Pennell, because he's free.
Oh, sorry, no, offense. Just the offensive guys.
Okay.
Guys. Minshew, Pacheco, Hunt,
Yeah.
Brown,
Yeah.
Juju.
Yeah. Oh no, I know the list. I'm aware of the list. I mean, bring me back Mr. Kareem Hunt. He still has a role. I think if you have Brashard Smith, you need somebody else to be a short yardage back and somebody that can block on third down. So, like, if you give me Mr. Kareem Hunt in that role, you now at least have between him and Smith, not a good, but like at least an adequate backup running back that can do everything. You just have it split into two players entirely. So I guess Mr. Kareem Hunt is probably the most useful of that group, especially for the cost.
I actually missed sorry, I had one of the fields in my Excel sheet covered by the screen. There is one more in there. It's probably the one that's actually going to get paid more than all of those guys. Tyquan Thornton also there. Is your answer
I don't think
changing?
he get paid that much. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have Tyquan Thornton than that. I don't think he gets paid that much.
But I think of Gardner Minshew, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyquan Thornton. Tyquan Thornton's getting paid more than anybody in that group. I really do think that.
Probably, but I don't think it's going to be a substantial amount. I had he been able at some point in time, if he had the start of the year that he had, but at the end of the season, like right before Mahomes gets hurt, and it was in the middle of the year when they're making the playoff push, I think you'd be more likely to get paid. But the fact that it happened at the beginning of the year and then just kind of he was quiet for the majority of the rest of the season, I think you're going to have plenty of teams out there to be like, I don't know what to make of this right now. So let's try to get him in cheap if they want him to. And yeah, but he's the guy of that group that I would obviously most like to have back for the Chiefs.
Same.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah, it's not close. Like, that might be it. Just it, period, for me personally. I think they just need to reset in all three of those rooms, and they might need a little bit more juice at that quarterback position if Mahomes is going to miss some time. There's three names I didn't mention that aren't free agents, but I want to talk about right after this.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity. because you won't be disappointed, and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
What's going on, everybody? It is Ben Heisler, KCSN betting analyst. Happy Super Bowl week to all of you. It is Super Bowl 60, and you know by now that it deserves a sports book that is built for the moment. We've been talking about them all season. Been great partners of ours, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60. It's putting you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And listen, it's the Super Bowl. We've seen some wild things happen. And when anything can happen, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. There's no bonus bets. There's no waiting. It all comes together for you. It's going to be a fun matchup. We got the Patriots and the Seahawks. Seahawks right now at DraftKings Sportsbook, a 4.5-point favorite with the total sitting at 45.5. You want to take the Patriots on the money line, you can do so just under 2-1 odds at plus 190. Me personally, I'm leaning towards that number with the Patriots. Now, in fairness, we've seen this number go all the way up to Patriots plus 5.5. I ended up grabbing them right at the very beginning at plus 4.5, thinking that line might go down. I still think it will. I'm expecting this line to close somewhere around 3.5 to 4. So I think you can still get good value with a lot of that public money likely coming in on the Pats. So I'm on Pats plus 4.5. I think that's the right line here, and I think it's a good opportunity. But remember, here's what you really want to know is that if you are new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. You can get on board the props. There's different Super Bowl MVPs. If you want to take the quarterback plays or the long shot variety ones, all those are available for you at DraftKings Sportsbook. But here's what you do. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Now, use that code KCSN, that is code KCSN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Yeah, I mentioned there was a few players that I still wanted to talk about. We looked at the free agent class, but in all actuality, there's a few players that also probably are going to see themselves becoming free agents here in a couple of months. Jawan Taylor, the right tackle for the Chiefs. The Chiefs can save $20 million against the cap, which they badly need. They are currently, according to Over the Cap, $54 million over for the 2026 year. So Jawan Taylor can make a big dent in that, as can Mike Dana. Mike Dana would net the Chiefs almost $9 million against the cap in 2026 if they were to move on from him. So those two names, do you think percent chance Jawan Taylor's back?
1%.
Percent chance Mike Dana's back?
I really want to say 0.5% because that's just way more money than I think Mike Dana's play has been worth. However, they're a little thin at the position. So like I could see somehow an avenue that he sticks around based on the fact that they just need bodies, but we're still going to go like 5%.
All right. You ready for a sneaky one that we don't
Saving
talk
$9 million to not have Mike Dana is such a no-brainer move. And I just have, there's a sneaky suspicion though that they just might feel like they're light at that position is all. Cause like you're going to have Karlaftis and you're going to have Gelati and
Felix.
No.
You heard me.
And
you heard me.
And
a draft pick.
Yeah. So I don't know. I get to see there's at least a path that makes sense for Dana staying around, even though $9 million in savings is a lot.
All right, here's the last one, because I think this is the last one that like makes a ton of sense. The Chiefs can save $6 million in cap savings by cutting 31-year-old Drew Tranquil. Percent chance that he is gone.
That he's gone.
That he's gone.
66%.
So you think it's pretty high that okay. All right.
I think the Chiefs cap situation isn't great. And I think they know they need to turn some stuff over. And so if you know you have to turn stuff over and your cap situation isn't great, yeah, I think it's one of the last moves that they would go about making financially, but I think it's one that's a possibility.
Just looking at it, you could cut Juwan, you cut Dana, and you cut Tranquil, and the Chiefs are still $20 million over the cap. Now, the restructure of Mahomes goes a long way in helping that. And McDuffie also gets you almost there to 0 too, if you really wanted to do that. So there's some money to save there potentially as well. And I think part of the allure of if you trade McDuffie, it's not just that you're saving the $15 million against the cap this year. You're also your net against the cap in 2026 is a little bit better, because if you were to say extend Jalen Watson, that first year cap hit's going to be low. So that's part of the allure of it too. But yeah, just I think I think at least two of those guys are near locks, and then Tranquil, I kind of lean them moving on from him. Where I think it was a pretty good number. I think that was a pretty good number there. So I'd lead Tranquil gone as well. But that's kind of the state of the Chiefs free agent class this year. But I wanted to play a little bit of game. We're not gonna get into players too much today. I'm sure some players will bleed into this a little bit.
Okay.
But I have a game for Maddie that I haven't really told him much about. I'm not doing the game show host stick. But I am gonna give you
stick.
Yeah. I created a list of positions here. And I set like an APY for all of them. And look, I know APY is not the best number to use when you're looking at contracts. There's cash to take into consideration. I understand that fully. But the easiest way to kind of play this game is just looking at the APY of a contract, annual percent or annual the yearly annual payout per year for this contract. Yes, there's guaranteed money that is going to be up or down, but generally the ballpark on the APY is probably going to fit pretty well for this game. Especially, you can take into consideration, we'll tell you your deals, you can take into consideration some of these one-year deals that might be hitting here too. But anyways, I created over-unders, created lines for all these key positions that I think the Chiefs are going to have to sign. And I just want to talk through and see where you stand on what you think the Chiefs will do from an APY perspective at all these positions. So we'll start at quarterback, and I say Matty Lane, over under $5.5 million APY at quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2026. Do you think whoever they sign in free agency to back up Mahomes gets $5.5 million over under?
Under. They just signed who they're getting. The Jake Haener, backup quarterback.
You think Jake Haener's starting games for this team?
No, I think Mahomes is starting games for this team, but I think they signed their backup quarterback.
So you don't think I think the quarterback spot is very telling and also very interesting, because if the Chiefs have any inkling of suspicion that Mahomes won't be able to play in week 1, I think they have to have somebody ready to play and ready to start and play a few meaningful football games.
Sure.
I feel like Marcus Mariota, for instance, made $8.8 million APY last year.
Yeah.
You think that
one of the better backups he's one of the better backups in the NFL, yeah.
Okay. I just don't know if the Chiefs are going to go to. Do you think the Chiefs go to battle with Gardner Minshew for $3 million next year, $4 million next year?
No, it's Jake Haener. You think I'm kidding? I don't think that. I think that Jake Haener is squarely going to be in the competition for the backup quarterback spot. I think more than that, though. Listen, we could have done the whole show on this, the way this game's going to go, but at the end of the day, the Chiefs got to save money somewhere. You just talked about the 3 guys that they could move on from and save the most amount of money, and they're still significantly over the cap. The Chiefs have to save money, and they're not going to spend money on quarterback. They're not going to cut a starting linebacker for the chance to pay a quarterback that money that they just saved. That makes no sense for this team moving forward. I think they are going to sign either some scrap heap quarterback that they probably have some familiarity with, or they really like Jake Haener, or they think that Oladokun's got more than he showed in the past couple weeks. I don't know, but I don't think they're going to pay money to a quarterback when they are so strapped up against the cap right now.
Yeah, the only thing that just gives me a little bit of pause is just if they need someone to win football games, are they really going to sacrifice a couple early wins to try to get cheap at quarterback? And by the way,
yes.
like the list, okay. I mean, the list of players, it's like Tyrod Taylor got $6 million last year. Zach Wilson, Marcus Mariota. Those are like your primary, your high end backup quarterbacks. And then you're looking at like a Kenny Pickett got $3.5 million. I think that was still on a rookie contract. Mitchell Trubisky 2.6. Gardner Minshew $1.2 million. So, all right, I think you're right on the under. How dismissive of not even entertaining I thought was a little bit interesting. Here we go. Running back over under APY $8.5 million. I tried to set a line where you're realistically probably going to be in the market at least comfortably for all of the high-end running backs that are available in this class. And, the line's high enough that any of the kind of mid-level investments probably fit underneath the mid-level threshold. So, I think the question kind of sits around Matty Lane, like how big of an investment do you think they make at the running back position? Do you think that they are in play for the high-level guys, the Travis Etiennes of the world, or do you think they're going to be settling in the mid-tier? Over under $8.5 million APY for one running back.
Under. I don't think they're paying one of the top 3 running backs. I don't think Kenneth Walker makes it to free agency. Breece Hall's a little bit more likely, but still not super likely. And I think you're looking at over 10 comfortably, and I don't think the Chiefs are a team that does that. The only other free agent running back that I think pushes that number is Travis Etienne, and while he kind of fits with the Chiefs, boy, that is like the worst third down back you can get for a team that likes to throw the ball a lot. So I just don't know. It feels very unlikely. We're essentially saying the Chiefs are going to pay one of the highest running back contracts to Breece Hall to get him in here as like our free agency call. So yeah, give me the under because everybody else that's available is going to be under that amount.
I think I'm with you. I don't think the Chiefs are gonna be
this is a very tricky thing that you have to go here. If you're the Chiefs, you obviously need to add running back talent. And if you can't go pay Kenneth Walker, you can't go over the number you just set at 8.5 APY and then go draft Jeremiah Love if he's there at pick 9. Now, I'm not saying you don't sign them specifically so you can draft Jeremiah Love. That would be absolutely asinine to do because you can't predict the draft out like that. But if you even wanted that to be an option, if he's there, if you want there to even be a chance, you can't sign Breece Hall because if you sign Breece Hall, you can't draft Jeremiah Love. And I'm not saying that's the reason you don't do it. It's just going to be a very narrow path that they have to figure out here. How do you help the running back position, but leave the draft as open as possible so you don't get stuck in a weird spot? Plus, is it worth it to spend, again, $12 million on a running back? Who knows? So yeah, I think we're going to go under.
I agree almost entirely with that. In fact, I'm debating an article to write kind of looking at like how this offseason can shape the draft strategy. Like if the Chiefs are going to truly try to keep this thing open for best player available, how do they navigate their free agent decisions for that? And like I think running back's the key linchpin in all this. To your point, I think it has everything to do with the fact that like, yes, if the Chiefs are going to get Jeremiah Love, they can't afford to be paying Breece Hall, 10, 11, 12 APY. They just can't do it. I don't think you can have Breece Hall and Jeremiah Love on this roster doing that. So if that's the case, if you're leaving the door open for Jeremiah Love, I think you've got to go under. So I'm under. Wide receiver, the APY is set at $10.5 million. So you're looking at maybe a mid to high investment, or you're just bringing Tyquan Thornton back before the draft. Tell me what over under on $10.5 million APY for the Kansas City Chiefs on their highest free agent contract.
Under. Tyquan Thornton's not getting that much in free agency.
You think Tyquan's you think Tyquan is their signing in free agency?
If Travis Kelce's coming back, yes.
Okay. I think Jawan Jennings probably gets like what do you think Jawan Jennings eclipses that number? That 10.5 million number? I think he does
I do.
too.
His age and assholeness might create some bit of a problem, but he's a good football player, and he's the type
That's
of wide
the Chiefs
receiver
market right there.
that's the type of wide receiver that every team can use. So like, yeah, I think he gets over. Actually, he might get comfortably over. His age is a bit of an issue, but like he's a third down machine. And so as long as he just rubs like opponents the wrong way and not other teams like front offices the wrong way, then like, yeah, I think he goes over that pretty easily.
I don't think the market is, I don't think there's a ton of players that really fit the over market. I just really wanted to see if you thought the Chiefs were going to be in on Romeo Dubs. That's really what this was.
I don't. I think he's going to be closer to that than a lot of other guys. Actually, I think Jennings gets more than Dubs in free agency.
Really?
More consistent player. Older.
I
More consistent player. I think you can do more. I think you can do more with Jennings. Yeah, I just think you can do more with Jennings than you can with Dubs. Dubs, you're going to put him on the outside, and every third week he's going to have a good game, and the other 2 weeks he's not going to do much and probably drop a ball. Like it's just. I don't know if you really can rely on him a ton, but he's not bad. It's just I think he's going to be. I think there's a lot of people that probably only watch Romeo Dubs' best games because he had a couple good games and like primetime moments this year. I think there's going to be fan bases that only really watch those games. They're like, whoa, why is this guy not getting more money? We should have signed him. And realistically, like his consistency from week to week is so poor. I can understand why the NFL might not be as high on him.
I'm gonna be boring too and take the under. I think there's a chance that like the Chiefs just want to try to find some stability and reliability at the receiver spot, and so they go and invest outside of just Tyquan Thornton. I do feel like Tyquan Thornton's back though. Definitely not for $10.5 million this year though.
Okay,
Tight end.
Here's a quick. No, hold on.
Okay.
I got a quick follow up. What would you pay Tyquan Thornton? Just bring in a ballpark number.
$5 million.
Okay. What would Rashid Shaheed's price have to be to pay him instead of Tyquan Thornton? Like how cheap would he have to be to take him over Thornton?
I think Rashid Shaheed's exceeding that $10 million clip.
I agree. I'm just asking like what his price would be for you to take him. Like how cheap would he have to be for you to be like, ooh, that's a better signing than Thornton would be?
It would be Shaheed for 3 years and like a $8 million APY, $9 million APY.
Okay. So really
maybe
low.
10.
Okay, so
honestly, maybe 10. Maybe 10. I think 310. Like if you're getting him for 3 years, because
I think he's a good football player. So I think I'd be willing to pay him more than that. Do I think the Chiefs would? I don't know, but I'd be willing to pay him more than that.
I think he probably gets. I think he gets a multi-year deal. I think he gets 3 years, 40 million, something like that. I think yeah. that's about where he sits. Tight end. I left the door open. I think I left the door open for the Isaiah Likeleys of the world and the Travis Kelce's of the world. $10 million APY over under.
Ooh. Okay. Here's my first over. I'm taking the over for that because I think Travis Kelce coming back on a 1-year deal probably gets you over that. And if he's not coming back and I'm going under on wide receiver, I think you have, and on running back, you do have to spend that money somewhere. So I think that probably would encompass an Isaiah Likely. I don't think the Chiefs are going to get in the Kyle Pitts sweepstakes because that's going to be a crazy amount of money. But I think that opens up something like an Isaiah Likely to be available for you. So yeah, I'm going to go over on that one. And I think right now it's a lot of leaning towards Kelce's very likely to come back. I don't want to put everything in the Isaiah Likely basket.
Well, you said he's very likely.
Okay. Moving on.
I think I'm taking the over here because I think
David Njoku probably pushes that number who's available. Dallas Goedert Pitts. For 1 year. I don't know about Goddard. Oh, Kyle Pitts is blowing that number out of the water though. So that's why I don't think he's likely. But Njoku probably would top it. Kelce would top it. I don't know about Goddard for 1 year. It seems, I don't know what his market's actually going to be, but he might be pretty close to that. So yeah, I think you're getting over 10 mil tight ends.
I think so too. I wanted to, because I feel like there's enough players that if Travis is gone, I feel like the Chiefs are going to do something. I feel like they're going to do something significant at the tight end position. That's why I wanted to see what you thought, if they would go over or under that $10 million. I think they're in the market for an Isaiah Likely if Travis Kelce's gone. Defensive end, I have set the line at $11 million APY.
Okay.
That's a tough one. That probably a Boye Mafe probably requires an over, but an AJ Epinesa does not hit that over. So where do you sit at the edge spot? $11 million.
I'll go over. A Mafe, a Jalen Phillips. I think there's a couple guys that might be available out there that would fit enough of the Spags threshold that I think would also fall into it. So give me the over, because I've been on a lot of unders for these, and I think the reasoning was I think it makes a little bit more sense for them to pay a defensive lineman to come in and to be able to play right away than it does to pay some of these other positions that we've talked about that I think you'll have a better chance to get in the draft, or you have guys already on the roster that can eat up some of those snaps a little bit. We talked earlier, the defensive end room is very thin. If Dana's gone, like, they have nobody besides George and Gelati. So pay somebody that can come in day one and play football. So give me the over for that.
I think this is likely, at least on the defensive ball, where they spend the most, and I could see it being the highest position that they pay from an APY perspective is defensive end. So I'm going to take the over as well. Defensive tackle, I've set the line at $3.5 million. I'll start. I'm taking the under. I think in free agency, this team just really hasn't shown a propensity to want to draft or to sign anyone of significance at a high APY since Jaron Reed, I think, is the last guy that got a little bit.
I was going to say Jaron Reed was the only one I was going to say. It's like, hey, Jaron Reed kind of got a little bit of money from this, but I think they've had enough success defensively despite operating this way. The defensive tackle has not been the direct reason that the defensive tackle next to Chris Jones has not been the direct reason that the defense has not been good. So I don't think they change it here.
I agree. I think it's the under. I think this is one of those places that they get cheap. Cornerback, the number has been set at $10.5 million for a cornerback in free agency. Matty Lane, what say you?
Under.
Explain it to me.
Why are they spending money on cornerback? They have all their corners under contract already. We talked about, I guess we just talked about earlier. I don't know. Trent McDuffie under contract. Noah Williams under contract. Christian Fulton under contract. The only way I really see this going over is if no team wants Jalen Watson for a price and it comes in exactly right at what you're saying, and the Chiefs like, fine, we'll take you back for 1 year at this amount. It's difficult for them contract wise, but if it comes back that you can get Jalen Watson for $11 million, even if it's for 2 years, 1 year, whatever, maybe. But I just think it's more likely than not somebody pays the on the rise, long boundary corner that's good and can play press. I think that guy's going to get paid more than this, and there's no reason for them to bring in anybody else.
Do you think if they trade Trent McDuffie that the over hits?
Yes, but it's only Jalen Watson. I think that's the only way it goes. If they trade Trent McDuffie, they should bring back Watson, and I would expect them to. I don't see them trading McDuffie and then paying more money to a guy they don't know at the cornerback room, though.
Safety, $6.5 million.
Ooh, that's a number. Over, because I don't think that they like what they saw out of Jaden Hicks. Neither did I like what I saw out of Jaden Hicks, and I don't know if they're ready just to give him that starting role. I guess we could use the same logic here that we used for running back, and that if you pay a safety over this amount of money, that probably takes you out of Caleb Downs' sweepstakes at pick 9. But again, you can't build your free agency strategy around getting one player in the draft. And I don't think taking a safety that high is good anyway. So I don't know. I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth, but give me the over on safety just because I do think it's pretty important that they get somebody there. And that way you don't have to use a draft pick on it unless you want to later on.
I'm not sure I'm excited about it, but I think I'm going to go with the under.
Okay.
I think
Scary.
they're going to – I think they might – I know. And I think they might bargain barrel it, but they also might draft one in the top 100. Like, I think that could be a place that draft resources are allocated.
There's some pretty good guys in day 2. Some good safeties.
One more. This is not a
Another
position.
one.
One more.
Okay.
Players
Jeez.
coming back. Over under 5.5 of that list that I gave you here a little bit. And I'll read it to you again. Gardner Minshew, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, Travis Kelce, Charles Omenihu, Derek Nottie, Mike Pennell, Leo Chenal, Jalen Watson, Brian Cook. Over under 5.5 of those players coming back.
Under 5.5 because it's 5 on the dot. It'll be give me Brian Cook, give me one of the 2 nose tackles, Travis Kelce, Tyquan Thornton, Mr. Kareem Hunt. Those are the 5 I think that come back.
I think you might get like Juju, Tyquan, Kareem, Travis, Gardner. Like on the offensive side of the ball, I could see like 5 coming back. I really could. Like I just knowing this team, I could see 5 coming back, and then you're getting one of those D tackles back. You're right. I think it's the over. I think it's Redis.
I can't do the Gardner thing. I can't do the Gardner thing.
You might be, buddy. You were just
Jake
advocating for Jake Haener.
Yeah, I am.
Which is. Never mind.
Okay,
I'm not going to be mean.
Some of us stayed awake and watched Maction. Okay, some of us watched Jake Haener put that Fresno State team on his back despite being smaller than you and going out there and putting up numbers for the love of the game at 10:30 at night because he's a dog. How dare you?
And then doing steroids.
That's fine. I want my football players on steroids. Just don't get caught. Be smarter.
Yeah, use better masking agent. Jake. Okay. All right. Before we got a couple more things. Do you think you still want to get into the team building lessons learned, or you just want to skip straight to the draft?
Listen, I'm just gonna make it very
quick. That segment went really long.
It did. That's okay. I just want to say this is something that I want to talk about this right after Dallas because it stuck out to me. I said last time when we did this lab on Wednesday, I watched a lot of stuff about the Bears, the Rams, the Seahawks. I'm just watching a lot of different things about offenses and how they work. Some that stuck out to me from a lot of these offenses that are working really well. And like we can talk about the run game, the play action, yada yada. There's a lot of stuff. Here's something that stuck out to me very, very much though. Their receivers, even though they have slot-centric wide receivers in LA with Puka Nacua and in Seattle, JSN isn't exactly as slot-centric, but like even when he plays outside, it's a lot of reduced splits. He does spend a lot of time in the slot. So like that kind of goes in. The Chicago Bears put DJ Moore in the slot a lot. But what I noticed about these guys is they scare teams vertically in a way that Rashee Rice does not. Rashee Rice can be as good as we want him to be. He really can be. He can be great. He can, there's games where he's really, really good, but he doesn't scare anybody vertically. There's no respect from safeties vertically. If he gets matched up on a safety down the field, no team is worried on what that matchup looks like. And when you watch the Rams, when you watch the Seahawks, or these teams like this, when their receivers get matched up on safeties working vertically downfield, there's like this fear, we can't have that matchup. That's a losing matchup for us. We do have to defend their best receiver. He might be in the slot and he might be at his best 0 to 10 yards or 0 to 20 yards, but we have to respect the fact that if he gets on our safety, that's a problem vertically. We have to account for that. The Chiefs don't have that. They don't even have that with Xavier Worthy. I mean, like teams know he's fast, but nobody's actually afraid of Xavier Worthy being the deep because all they know is they have to touch him and it really slows down his route. And then there's the tracking issues and stuff. So the Chiefs just don't have their high volume receivers don't have this 3-level ability that these other offenses have. And it's like keeps coming back. It's like, I get it. The Chiefs have invested a lot in wide receiver. And I'm not saying it's a magic pill or anything for this team, but watch some other really good offenses. You got to get respect on more than just 0 to 10 yards from the receiver room. And I don't know if Rashee Rice is going to get it. He's just not that kind of vertical receiver. I don't know if Xavier Worthy is going to get it. He hasn't shown us those steps. So like, I just think as we go into the draft here or in the free agency, whichever one, And if you think the Chiefs don't need a wide receiver, just go back and really watch how defenses play. They are not afraid of the Chiefs getting a pass over 10 yards. And then watching the Super Bowl. Stephon Diggs isn't what he used to be, but watch how the Seahawks play him. Watch how the Patriots have to play JSN. There is like, oh, this guy can go beat us anywhere. He can go anywhere. And that really does change how you have to play defense. So it was something that dawned on me that I do think puts a kind of cap on how good Rashee Rice can ever be, even if he hits his ultimate ceiling. And I think Deebo Samuel had the same cap. Nobody respected Deebo Samuel beating them downfield. It's just a matter of how much can he beat you horizontally. So that stuck out to me watching those teams. This is just me kind of ranting about stuff that I had takes on when I was watching a lot of film by myself.
One of the things that stood out to me is and it aligns very similarly to this, and it's just like when you were talking about like Puka, Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Stafford's willing to throw his one-on-ones, not just against the safeties, but like outside the number one-on-ones. Like he's willing to throw those out there too. And like I think that's like there's just a general lack of willingness to throw a true one-on-one. Like that doesn't really feel too much like the part of the Chiefs offense. It all feels designed. It all feels structured, and it doesn't feel like there's a lot of like, if you like it, take it, or expect.
Watch. I mean, you said Puka. Watch how he runs a vertical route or a corner route or a vertical route. Watch how he restacks a defender. He's not fast, right? But watch how he restacks a defender by essentially running into them. He just rams into them like a bumper car, but then gets them on his back hip. Then watch JSN. And when you watch him run his vertical routes, he's not running by guys, but when he gets even slightly ahead of them off his route, he like cranes his shoulder down and dips it in front of them. So as he straightens up and runs underneath his shoulders, he's now in front of them. They stack guys very well, and that's part of the threat of how they beat you deep. Then go watch Xavier Worthy, right? When he gets a step on a guy, he's running away from them. He's avoiding contact. Rashee Rice just has not shown the ability to get on top of guys like that in this way. It's just there's a route running element that shows up. There's a lack of fear. And then to your point, Mahomes it's either a trust or it's not built into the offense. But I wonder what it would look like if they had somebody that could actually position themselves well on these type of throws, because it's not the guys they currently have.
Anything else you want to rant about?
No, it was just that and it's not just the vertical. I saw somebody in here, Seamus said like, hey, I'm trying to get Brazel at 40. No, it's not a vertical threat. It's a guy that can win to all three levels, right? It's a guy that you have to respect to win everywhere. And that makes a really good receiver. And those guys are hard to find. And guess what? You pick 9. So don't rule it out. Just like that's what I'm trying to say is like, don't rule out a receiver that can actually impact a team on more than 0 to 10 yards or 20 plus. You got to have somebody that can, get overlap in where you're going to target them. And I don't think the Chiefs currently have that.
Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate?
Yeah. I mean, Jordan Tyson fits the mold too. I have my other reservations with him, but like he can win to multiple levels of the field, right? So like I'm just saying don't rule it out, because I do think there's a little bit more hidden benefit there than I think some people think when you watch how these other offenses work.
All right, before we get out of here, we had to talk a little draft. You knew we had to talk a little bit of draft.
Oh,
I mean, it's so funny right now to see how we're all locked in already. You can already see the conversations on social media happening about the draft. The draft is dominating more than anything else right now when it comes to the conversations about this team. I love it personally. It's Feb 2. It's February 2nd. We're already full in here. But like we did last week, we are going to do a quick mock draft roundup. There's been a couple prominent names coming out recently. Maddie, we did this last week without you with Hamilton, and that gave him a chance to watch Ruben Bain. Yeah, Ruben Bain and Caleb Downs. We got some analysis from Hamilton on. But there's been a couple of new prominent drafts that have come out recently. A 2-round mock draft from our guy Matt Miller over at ESPN. And with the 9th pick in Matt Miller's draft, he selects for the Kansas City Chiefs David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech. We'll start there. I was really excited to get into this with you, Maddie. The David Bailey discourse here. He's the pick at 9 in Matt Miller's mock. How do you feel?
Not great. There's a lot of conversation here about David Bailey, and we have pushed this way down. So I want to save some of this, I think, for when we start up the draft show, which he should be starting here pretty soon. We're trying to iron out all the dates for that. So I got to save some meat on the bone here. But I wouldn't love David Bailey at pick 9. I don't think he fits at all what the Chiefs do. And this is beyond Spags only wants run defenders or doesn't like pass rusher jokes. This is beyond Josh Uche jokes. He doesn't play the way the Chiefs like their defensive ends to play, even as a rusher. It's pin his ears back, run to 10 yards, and hope you beat the tackle there, right? And like the Chiefs Steve Spagnuolo has never used a guy like that, even going back to his good pass rushers with the Giants in the first stop or the second stop, or with the Los Angeles Rams when he had Robert Quinn and when Chris Long was there. Like, he doesn't have pass rushers that are just pin your ears back, run as far as they can up the field, and see what kind of speed rush they can get, because that's not how his defense functions. So I think there's some issues with the fit. And then I think David Bailey's way too stiff for a guy of his body type. And so I don't know. I don't see a top 10 pick when I look at him.
I tend to be a little bit more optimistic on the David Bailey side, but I don't disagree that from a fit perspective, he has not fit the typical thresholds and the typical requirements of what Steve Spagnuolo prefers. So it's at times a little hard to see if Steve Spagnuolo is having a ton of influence there, that he is getting a sign off on if he's signing off on David Bailey, because I think the run defense is inconsistent at best. There are a few flashes here or there that I think get you a little bit excited, but truly playing stout at the point of contact without runway, which I think is very important. It's not like he's going to get to play from a wide alignment and get a lot of runway to impact and set the edge. That's not really what the Chiefs typically do. So it's not like he's going to get a ton of space and be able to have a ton of space to create speed to power to hold the point of attack. He's going to be reduced tighter. And if that's the case, I think that's what gives me pause about him as a run defender. But the flip side, though, is that first step's the best in the class. He is the best first step in the entirety of the class. I think he's got an exceptional first step off the ball, and I think he can affect up the arc a little bit differently. I don't think it's as fluid as some of these other guys up the arc. I don't think there's a ton of guys that are super fluid up the arc the same way that some of these top end rushers are. But that's the thing that gives me a little bit of pause about him, is the fluidity through the frame to run the arc, and in the run defense. But I think the first step's exceptional, and I think he really.
I think he's fast, not explosive. I think he's fast, not explosive. And so when you align at the wide 9 and you get it take 4 steps to get to that point of contact, he's eating up ground. I think when you reduce him, though, I don't think he has the burst to get by somebody before they get to their landmarks. And so it's again a little bit of the weight thing. And you talked about where he's going to align, but I think he's faster than he is explosive. So if we're just talking pure explosion, I think Bain's more explosive than he is. I just think Bailey's faster because he takes really long strides. He has quick foot turnover. Either way, I can't wait to do an Edge show because I got all my complaints about David Bailey that go beyond just his fit for Spags. I think he's quickly making his case to be one of the more overrated players that we've had in a minute, just because I think people see his body type and the production in college and are ignoring the warning signs that are flashing all over the place about a guy that's going to be sub 250 and has tight ankles. That's not a super common
archetype.
Yeah, that doesn't work great. Usually. For some teams, it might. You want to go to Philly or wherever Jim Schwartz goes and align as a wide 9 and shoot out and just run as fast as you can at the quarterback every play, you're probably going to have an impact, right? There's a role for that on certain teams. It's just, I do think he's way more scheme specific than what he's being made out to be. And when you're talking top 10, I don't know how I think you're getting way over your skis talking about a scheme specific guy in the top 10 with a limited physical skill set.
Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson were both on the board in that mock scenario.
Just, is what it is. Win some, you lose some.
I'd pick Mekhi Lemon in that situation. The Kansas City Chiefs take Kamari Ramsey, the safety out of USC, at pick 40. Matt Lane, how do you feel?
I don't love it. I don't mind the player, actually. I think Kamari Ramsey is a pretty good safety. It's just at pick 40, I feel like I have to be getting a great value, and I don't think he's a great value there. I think Caleb Downs obviously is safety 1. I think for me, it's pretty easily Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo is safety 2. And at 40, I think I could talk myself into him. Any other safety at 40, I'm like, this just isn't the right spot. So I just don't think it's the right spot for Ramsey. I don't dislike the player, just not the right spot.
I would echo that sentiment. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is awesome. And like, I think the fun thing about this draft
really
is
good.
there's a lot of varying opinions on like where all these guys will go after like the top 15-ish, and you're going to see a wide range. And this is a prime example. I'll give you 2 examples. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety out of Toledo we just talked about. Miller has him going 18th, which wouldn't surprise me, by the way, especially with the success of Nick Emanwori this year. Like, they're not like for like exact players. Like, I think Emanwori is a little bit more physical, but Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is still
way more
like
fluid.
Way more fluid. More coverage chops, a little bit different flavor, even though they're both big safeties. Him going 18 wouldn't surprise me. But here's the flip side, Maddie. 1 pick after the Chiefs selected Kamari Ramsey in this draft. They went ahead and Miller gave the Bengals at pick 41 Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. There's a lot of people out there that want to see Peter Woods in Kansas City at pick 9. And by a lot, I'm not saying like a majority, but like there's enough of a pocket. I see it out there that Peter Woods is getting buzzed to the Chiefs at 9 by some people. And in this mock scenario, he's available to them at 40. I think I'd pick Peter Woods at pick 40. I think I'd take him at 40.
Yeah. No, that's even, I'm not the biggest Peter Woods guy. I think you and I have talked about this, but like, that's a value for even how I feel about him. And I feel like I'm I thought I was the lowest person on him, but apparently Matt Miller might be a little bit lower. Daniel Jeremiah.
Or whoever Matt Miller's talking to.
Yeah, and I think Daniel Jeremiah had him pretty low too, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't his DT 1 or 2, and might have been outside of his top 30 on his big board. So like, yeah, Peter Woods in that spot is a great pick. Peter Woods at pick 9, not so great of a pick. But at 40, that'd be a phenomenal pick. I would have certainly gone that route.
One more mock draft before we get out of here. Lance Zierlein released a mock today, and at pick number 9 for the Kansas City Chiefs, it is Ruben Bain Jr.
Ooh, that's what we're talking about.
9th to the Kansas City Chiefs. This is 2 straight weeks that we've seen Ruben Bain Jr. mocked to the Chiefs at 9. And at times it feels like, and for instance, like in Miller's mock, Bain goes 4th. In this mock, he's 9th. He's going 9th to the Kansas City Chiefs. You haven't got a chance to really talk about Bain at 9, the early thoughts on Bain at 9, since you weren't here last week. Is that pick number 1? Like, is that like realistic options for the Chiefs? Feels like Ruben Bain Jr. might be like the number 1 option for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think he would be like my 1A. He'd be my first option, I think. If the draft was like, hey, right now, okay.
Hold on. Before you get into Bain Jr., you said 1A for a second. I want to know who 1B is.
No, it's not. I'm trying to, and this is my personal life too, I'm trying not to list things as 1A, 1B anymore, because you're still labeling stuff 1 or 2, right? 1A is clearly ahead of 1B, right? So why are we saying 1A, 1B? It's just 1, 2. You're still putting them in order. The 1A is completely useless. So in all aspects of life, I'm trying to drop 1A, B, C. That's just dumb. You're still ranking them. Just rank them that way. So no, the top guy that I'm choosing is Ruben Bain Jr., regardless of however you want to label that. My number 2 player for me is Mekhi Lemon, and it's very close. Now it's a tier for me, I think, would be those 2 back to back. But Bain would be first of that list, not 1A, 1. And he's first. The arms don't fit the Spags thing, but we've seen guys that I think draw pretty good comps to him come in there. We've had Terrell Suggs in Kansas City. I think is a decent comp. Melvin Ingram's a common comp for him that a lot of people throw out there. He plays like the guys that Spags has brought in with that short of arms before, or very short arms as well. He plays with that type of just physicality. He plays with a dog in him. He can play the run. He plays the pass. I think he's a lot more athletic of a pass rusher than David Bailey is. I think he's more flexible. I think he's bendier. And like I said, I think he's more explosive and he's strong. Like, The only thing that Bailey has on him is speed. And like, okay, that's cool, but he's more physically gifted than David Bailey is as a rusher. And then he's a better run defender. So like, I think he should be the clearly number one edge rusher in this class. I think it's silly that he's not, but hey, if he's there at 9, fire away, please.
I'm trying to balance because like this draft could be a little bit all over the map after Fernando Mendoza. My gut tells me things settle down a little bit when it's all said and done, and Ruben Bain's an afterthought, and he's a Tennessee Titan. That's actually where Miller had him. Like I feel like Bain's gonna wind up in the top 5. I'm not trying to get too excited.
I think so,
but it just feels like there's enough people out there that are just well-connected people that continue to keep Ruben Bain available to the Kansas City Chiefs at 9, and that is a world I want to live in.
I bet that I'll see this. If that's the case post combine, I'm going to be a little bit more excited. But I think once everybody gets together and you start getting the groupthink, not from media, but like from actual teams and the connected people that get to talk to teams, I bet you start to see that change. It's just my guess right now. Cause I think some people are still holding on to like a middle of the year. We talked to this one GM or not GM, this one scouting guy or this one intern for this team that said, hey, Ruben Bain's kind of disappeared for these 2 or 3 weeks in a row. We're not sure how we feel about his 30-inch arms. And then the playoff happened. And then you're going to see him testing in person. I think post-combine, he starts going in the top 5 consistently.
I think that's the reverse Arvell Reese.
He's still got a lot of fans right now. So like, hey, man.
Right. But again, I think it's the flip side. It's like, oh, the shine might wear off of him a little bit more. And then, Bain, I could see that. I could see that playing out. A lot of time left here. We have achieved February, though, and the offseason is getting very close here, where things really start kicking off after this Super Bowl next week. KC Sports Network is where you want to be for everything draft, free agency, the breaking news team, and all the great shows that we've got going on every single week. So make sure you're checking everything out. Thank you all so much for listening. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
No more 1A, 1B. It's 1-2.